Today we're going to learn all about garlic. I'm going to teach you how to choose the right variety for your area. I'm going to talk to you about soil prep and also specifically about which varieties will work best in your region. Hi, you're in the garden with Patrick, and garlic is one of the most rewarding things that you could probably put in your garden and grow. And man, it's so easy to grow. You basically take these cloves apart, and I'm going to show you how to do all that. Place them in the ground, and in about 9 months, you're going to get some great, beautiful bulbs of garlic. So easy. All right, so let's talk about which varieties do you want to choose. So essentially there's 3 types of garlic. There is a hardneck, softneck, and then elephant garlic. So your softneck variety is going to grow much better in the warmer zones. And you're going to choose the type of garlic depending on the zone that you're in, but you can certainly grow softneck and hardneck in throughout the different warm or colder zones. Okay, the softneck variety is going to store longer, so you're going to have about 9 to 12 months storage available with your softneck varieties, and the flavor is going to be a little bit more mild. So as you see here, this is your softneck variety. It's going to be best again in zone 6 through 10. And but again, you can grow these in whatever area that you live in. Just depends on what you're wanting to accomplish. Now, the hardneck variety, as you can see here, the hardneck variety looks like this, and you can see the little stalk that's in the center here. So the hardneck variety is much more superior flavor, a richer flavor, but again, they do much better in colder climates, and they also don't store as long. So if you're going to get a hardneck, it's not going to store as long as your softneck variety. So those are some things to consider, and like I mentioned before, you're going to be able to grow softneck and hardneck in whichever zone you live in. The different types of garlic you can grow, just keep in mind, you can grow them in any zone that you live in, but the hardneck variety is going to be a little bit better and hardier in the colder zones, and the softneck is going to be in the warmer zones. So you can also plant these garlic in containers, so you might want to consider that as an alternative if you don't have the space in your garden here, or again, if you just want to be able to use that back and forth, you can put that inside your garage while it's growing, and then take it out when the sun is warm, and in the summertime it'll definitely be able to sprout much better, and you'll have really good garlic growing in a container. So try that. That's a great tip. All right, so your elephant garlic, as you can see here, the elephant garlic is got a much milder flavor, but it's actually, as I mentioned, it's a little bit or it's closely related to the leek family, which is interesting. So it does resemble the traditional garlic, but it is from the leek family. And in planting is a little different than the traditional hard or softneck varieties, but we'll go over that in a little bit. And really, essentially, it's just you're going to just plant a little deeper with those elephant garlic. All right, so let's talk a little bit about when do you plant your garlic. So the first thing, the easiest thing to remember is think about the time of year that you can plant is really spring or fall. And you can plant garlic in the spring. You just don't have a long enough period of time for your garlic to develop, so you may not have a very large clove at the end of the season. However, the best really is planting in the fall. And what month depends on, of course, what zone you're living in, but you can always think about one of the things that garlic repels is vampires. So think about the best time is Halloween October-ish, November in my zone here. If you order from a seed shop, what they'll do is they'll send you the garlic when it's appropriate in your area for planting, so you don't have to worry about that. But what happens if you just want to get some garlic from the grocery store and plant that? You can do that again anytime. So you'll get a larger clove of garlic when you plant in the fall because it has a longer period of time. The time that the garlic is going to be growing is about 9 months. So if you think about that, that's a long period of time. But during the winter time, it actually is a good time for your garlic because it's called a process called virilinization. And what that does is it's a cold spell for the garlic, and that allows the root to develop or your clove to develop a larger clove as it grows. So you want to plant it now while it's still a little warm, and it'll establish roots, and then that cold period of time is good. Now there are some people that think that you can plant garlic and you just put it in the refrigerator for about 2 months. That also will help that cold, that kind of shocks or tricks the garlic that it supposedly thinks that it's, you know, a cold period. If you live in the warmer climates, again, I've talked to different people and done some research myself, and for the most part, there's not really a huge difference about putting it in the refrigerator for 2 months and then planting versus not. So that's just something to consider. Let me know in the comments below if you do this and if you've done it with and without the refrigerator method, and if you've noticed any differences. All right, so let's talk about soil prep. Okay, so when you're preparing your soil for your garlic, what you want to consider is that the garlic loves a soft, loamy type soil. Okay, so you want to get something nice and soft, and it's similar to like what carrots would like. They don't like to go in, and you want those roots to go nice and deep, and you want something soft, nothing that's really clay or anything along those lines. A good organic material you want to add to your soil. Now I've done a couple of videos, and I'll put a link below on the soil prep that I did here, but basically what you can do when you're doing your soil prep is you can do it 2 ways. You can either put a hole where you're going to plant your garlic, and then you're going to put a little bit of those amendments in there, so you can put some organic material, compost, that kind of thing, or you can just take that and put that on top of the soil. I've already prepared my soil, and I've put that into the top 4 inches or so. So you want to consider something that's going to be very good for your garlic to allow that to grow better. Garlic loves phosphorus, so if you can find something that is high in phosphorus, something like bone meal. Bone meal has a ratio of 2:14:0, so that 14 is your phosphorus, and that's going to help with good root development. So you want to use those root development, the phosphorus or bone meal, for your root crops. So something like garlic, also carrots. So these are carrots here that we have. These are my fall garden things that we planted a few weeks ago. Again, you can link to that. This is my bok choy. This is my romaine lettuce. It's been doing pretty good, and I've done subsequent plantings. As you can see, the different sizes, the small, because you don't want to, you know, have 5 heads of lettuce, and then what do you do with that? You'll be sick and tired of lettuce for a while. So the nice thing about dusting the holes is that, you know, it gets right into the garlic where it belongs. But again, you don't have to worry about that if you've already amended your soil and you have good soil. Once you do that, then you're going to prepare your garlic for planting, and let me show you how we do that. So I have my garlic here. I have the elephant garlic that we're going to be planting, and then I also have a softneck variety, the Transylvanian. Okay, and then I also bought, just for fun, I bought this store-bought organic clove of garlic. So we're going to plant that also and see how that does compared to the one that I bought from a seed shop. So I'm going to show you how to go ahead and prepare your garlic. Basically, you're just going to take your cloves here, and what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of separate those, and you just see they kind of come apart. Okay. So what you're going to do is once you separate your cloves from your main garlic head, you're going to see different sizes. Okay, so you can see here this is a larger size, and then this is a little bit smaller size. This size here is something that you're going to put in your cooking. You don't want to put this in your garden. You want to only use the largest cloves that you can, and once you find the largest clove, and again, we're going to plant several of these in our garden today, but basically what you're going to do is the planting orientation is very simple. As you can see here, you got a flat end, and then you got the pointy end. A flat end and the pointy end. And that is basically how the garlic is going to grow. You have the flat end here, and then the garlic is going to grow straight up. So when you plant, make sure that you're planting in that direction. Okay? Now, the planting depth varies based on your region, but for the most part it's going to be 4 to 6 inches depth. And again, you can do that however you want to. My finger width is about 3 inches here, so I'm going to go down a little bit lower than my finger width, and I'm going to put my garlic right in that spot. So you're going to take that, have your garlic in this position here with the pointy side up. I'm going to put that about 4 inches down, cover that up, and that's how simple it is to do and plant garlic. Now I am using a square foot method, okay, and you can plant 4 of your garlic plants in this one little square foot. So the spacing generally is 4 to 6 inches, again 4 to 6 inches deep, and about 4 to 6 inches from each other. So you're going to plant your next garlic clove here about 4 inches down. I'm going to take that pointy side up, put that right in here, and we're just going to cover that up, and that's it. Now once we plant all our garlic here, then what we want to do is we want to cover that with a mulch first. You can put some compost on there too. That might also help, because that will kind of, remember this is a 9-month growing period, so that compost will kind of decompose and give those garlic cloves some good nutrition. But more importantly, you want to keep this from freezing, so that's where you're going to add your mulch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of my homemade compost here. Just put a nice little layer here, not a whole lot, but I am going to put a nice layer of that over my garlic that I just planted. Then, as you've seen in a couple of my videos, I use different ways of composting, and so I'm going to use various things here. So again, this is just real simple. This is something as simple as your paper that you shred. Shredding paper is great. It breaks down very well. So I'm going to put a little layer of that here, and then I'm going to finish my mulching with some straw. And you want to use about maybe 4 inches of mulch on top of your garlic. Now the reason you want to have so much mulch is for different reasons. The first, most importantly, is to keep that soil moist, and also will help with not allowing that to freeze. And secondly, more importantly, is that mulch will act as a barrier to help keep your weeds out over the time that your garlic is developing and growing. So just as long as you're not finding something that's packing down. You can use the greens from say mowing your lawn. You can also use leaves that you mulch up. I'm using straw because I have that available. So maybe 4 inches or so on your mulching, and make sure you water very well the first time. And for sure, don't forget to label, okay? Label your garlic on what you're planting there. So in 3 months from now, when you're spring, or 4 months from now, when springtime comes, that you're not really sure what's going on in this, and you kind of forget. Also, the different varieties that we planted today, we'll have an experiment to decide on what is the proper methods. I'm sorry, the different types of garlic that you're using, whether it's store-bought organic, or maybe you buy something from a seed shop, and if there's any differences between those. So that's it. Pretty much you just leave it for the next couple of months. In the spring, you'll start noticing that it starts to sprout up a little bit. You just keep, and we'll do another video on how that is progressing over the time that you are going to be watching these videos. So if you have not tried garlic, I think this is an excellent way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my elephant garlic and we're going to put that in a container. So that way we can show you both ways, in the ground and also in a container. The container gardening is pretty much essentially the same as far as putting it in the ground. I'm still going to use my square foot method, and this elephant garlic that's a little bit larger, we're going to take that and we're going to put that about 4 to 6 inches again deep into our container here, and that's pretty much it. Everything else stays the same. We're going to still mulch this and put some mulch on top of it. This is where I have my spring garden, my fall garden. I have some spinach here that's growing. I have some lettuce. I actually planted even some cilantro. I'll show you that here in just a second. But basically the same process. You're going to take your flat end here and your pointy end. So you're going to plant this way. All the garlic's going to be the same. So I put my hole about 4 to 6 inches deep and just kind of put that right in there. And well, that is pretty much it. Now, it's going to be interesting to see, because as you see here, this has the paper on it, okay? And this one, the paper fell off of the elephant garlic. So hopefully that's going to still be okay. What the paper does here is it kind of helps protect that inside layer. So we'll see. The paper just fell off on this one, so we're going to just hopefully that's going to grow. So I'm going to put that one here, and then we're going to put this one, so we can remember, in the back, and we'll see if this one grows or if it just rots because it doesn't have anything to protect it. So I'll put that down in there, and then our last one here. And we're all set. So that's how we're doing that. We just cover that right up. I might put a little bit extra bone meal on top of this, so that as the time goes on, it'll start to go deep into the root system. And we'll mulch this. I'm not going to be able to mulch this with 4 to 6 inches, but this is a container, so I'm going to also be able to take this inside when it's really cold. So we'll be able to do that too. So that gives you some ideas as far as you can plant garlic any place, anytime, really, to do that. So I want to encourage you to, again, if you can't find any garlic online or anything like that, just go to your local grocery store, look in the organic section, and get a clove of garlic, and see what you can do. And let me know in the comments below if you've tried garlic and you've been successful, and maybe what varieties that you're using, Hardneck, Softneck, or if you've tried planting the elephant garlic. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing and supporting this channel. Give this a thumbs up and a like if this content is good for you and you found something that was entertaining, of course, and also you learned something. Until next time, happy gardening.